This tutorial is part of a series of tutorials that cover the basics of getting started with AudioMulch. So if you're relatively new to AudioMulch, this tutorial is for you. If you're completely new to AudioMulch, you might want to refer to the previous tutorials in this series. In this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how to create contraption presets and how to control a patch using the automation timeline. For my patch, I'm going to use a baseline contraption. The baseline contraption is a virtual analog synthesizer with a built-in sequencer. Remember that we can only hear the sound that a contraption produces when it's connected to an output contraption. So I'm going to route the signal from our baseline contraption to the sound out contraption. I also need to turn up the volume on the baseline contraption. To start playing the sequencer on the baseline, I'm pressing the play button on the transport toolbar. I want to slow down the tempo, so I'll do that too. You'll notice the default sequence the baseline plays is quite boring, so I'm going to edit the sequence in the baseline's pattern editor. To find out more about pattern editing, just click the Help button on the baseline contraption property editor. Presets are accessed from the Presets button. You can find the Presets button next to the Help button on a contraption's property editor window. When I click on the button, I get a pop-up menu showing up to 20 presets. I haven't made any presets for this contraption yet, so currently all the slots are empty. Now I'm going to create a new preset by clicking on the Store button for preset slot 1. Now all the parameter settings on the baseline contraption, including the sequence I created, are saved to preset number 1. You can see that the preset button now displays the number 1. This is because preset 1, the preset I just created, is now active. All the parameter settings in the baseline contraption currently belong to this preset. Notice that when I start changing the sequence again, the font style of the preset button changes from bold to regular. That indicates that the parameter settings on the contraption have changed since the preset was loaded. If I wanted to save these changes to preset 1, I'd have to store preset 1 again. But I want to keep both variations of my sequence, so I'm going to leave preset 1 alone and save my changed sequence to preset number 2. Now when I load preset 1 again, and then preset 2, you can hear how the baseline contraption switches between my two different variations of the sequence. I want to automate this switching though, so I don't have to do it manually. To automate our baseline's preset parameter, I right-click on the preset button and choose Automate from the pop-up menu. Follow this same process when you want to automate any other parameter. Now a new automation channel for my presets parameter has been added to the automation pane down here. The automation pane has a timeline that allows us to define the way parameters change over time. I'm going to start at bar 1 with my first preset. At bar 4, I want the baseline to switch to preset number 2. So I'm going to click on the value line at bar 4 and add preset number 2. Now I'm going to test what I've done. I'll set the play cursor back to the beginning, then I'll press the play button to start the automation playing. Hear how our baseline sequence changes when the play cursor reaches bar 4. Now I'm pressing stop. I can also set the automation to loop. To do this, I'm going to click the loop button on the transport toolbar. This creates a loop point marker on the upper edge of the automation ruler. By grabbing the handles at either end of the marker, I can define the length and position of the looped section. I've just set the automation to loop for 4 bars. Now, so we can hear what I've done from the beginning of the automation, I'm pressing the Play from Start button on the Transport toolbar. Notice that, curiously enough, our baseline contraption has an input. If I feed an audio signal through the baseline contraption uses the audio signal input instead of its own internal oscillator. That means that you can apply the baseline sequencer and filter features to your own sound to give it a new rhythmic structure. I'm going to try this out on a looping sound file. I'm setting up a file player contraption to play a sound. Now I'm setting the sound to loop and play. So that was a basic introduction to using presets and automation in AudioMulch. Be sure to check the AudioMulch website for other video tutorials.